Hey folks, welcome back to Only the Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about the second book in the series that's become my dark horse of 2025. In the same way Johnny Wirtz's Wars of Light and Shadow was my dark horse of 2024, this series is the one that's been on my TBR for well over a decade. And if I had had any inkling that it was this good, I would have jumped on it a lot sooner. So yeah, apparently that's just going to be a recurring theme here. But anyway, the book I'm talking about is First Rider's Call, the second book in the Green Rider series by Kristen. And yeah, talk about random. So what is this book even about? So this book picks up following the events of the first one, and Carrigan has refused the magical call to become a Green Rider. But the magic would not let her turn her back on her fate. As strange wild magic begins to warp and change the fabric of society and the fabric of the world around them, she finds herself not just drawn back into this world, but also delving into the past, trying to find trying to find answers and solutions for the challenges of the present. So, so like this series is good. It's really good, classic fantasy, but when I say classic fantasy, it has that feel in terms of just the way the world is devised and this kind of thing. But it's so much more. It's so much its own thing. Like, clearly, Kristen drew heavily. She was heavily inspired by series like Valdemar and Lord of the Rings, but because she's such a talented writer, she's quickly made the series her own thing. Like, her characters are very much her own. They're the strongest part of the series, and she just takes it from there and runs with it in all the best ways possible. Like, it's ridiculous these books aren't talked about more often. Like, this is Johnny Wirtz all over again. Like, there's this massive series that's ongoing. I think there's 8 books, well, soon to be 8 books. The 8th one is coming out in September, which was my prompt to begin reading the series in the first place. And like, no one's talking about it, or the people who are talking about it are the people who aren't necessarily the most popular on booktube. So yeah, take with that what you will. Like, Carrigan is such a compelling character to read about. Her personality is just really engaging, really fun, and the situations that she becomes embroiled in, it just really makes her shine. Like, in this book we follow her as she's thrust into some pretty, given the nature of what happens and the toll it takes on the people around her, she's essentially thrust into roles that she doesn't necessarily want to be, want to have, but she's kind of doing the best that she can for as long as she can. So we see her take on multiple challenges on multiple fronts while confronting her own personal challenges. Like, these we're talking about challenges that range from the mystical, the mundane, the personal, even to the administrative, as she's forced into roles she wasn't prepared for, but which she has some experience enough to, like, barely manage to keep the lids on things, basically. But yeah, like this kind of stuff is standard for any book, but why I mention it specifically with her is because not only does it somehow make compelling reading because she's such an engaging character to read about, but it never relents. Like, these challenges just hit her hit after hit after hit. She's almost like a pinball, like a pinball in the way that she just hit from one to the other. It never relents, and what's great about it is that as she just bounces from these challenges, like, we quickly see the way that it begins to take a mental and physical toll on her as time passes in this book. And like, the time frame that all of this happens in is relatively short, but you see it firsthand, the toll it takes. Like, it's just compelling character work done right, like, written well and done right. Surrounding her is this supporting cast of characters who they really serve to bring out different facets of her personality and really, like, amplify that engagement that we have with her. Like, there's her fellow Green Riders and the camaraderie she has with them. There's the respect that she has with the captain of the Green Riders. That brings out, and the tasks that she's called on and perform, and like the things that she's kind of like, though that particular relationship also highlights certain facets of her personality. And then there's the whole situation with King Zachary, where like it's starting to delve in the direction of a romantic subplot. It's not quite there yet. We're still very much at the will they won't they stage, but by the time we do get there, like it'll be we'll be so engaged by these characters. I don't think, well, I personally wouldn't care much. Like I'll just be there for it, whatever happens. Like that's the cool thing about this book. Like between all of these different situations, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of suspense, there's a lot of mystery as events unfold. Especially like the different scenarios that Carrigan has to deal with, that she isn't necessarily the best person or the most qualified to deal with, but she has to because she's the person that's there at the time. Like wrong place, wrong time, essentially. So there's that. All that being said, like this is still very much an epic fantasy series, and in this one we see Kristen Britton both continue to draw on the Lord of the Rings inspiration whilst doing her own thing. Like this one, it delves into the history of the conflict, like the major conflict that's clearly going to be like the overarching conflict of the entire story, and that's very much has its roots in Lord of the Rings. But at the same time, you can see her weaving her own mythos into this. Like she gives her entire conflict a much more human twist, a much more personal twist, as well. And she like we see how it starts and how it became what it is today. We get an expansion of the common conflict. We get teases of what's in store. We get build up, we get a lot of suspense, and we get like a lot of like we see as the magic as magic reawakens and these kind of things. Like we see we get to see what's coming down the line, essentially. All that being said, like similar to the first book, Kristen Britton does find a way to incorporate like modern ideological, or how should I put it, like modern concepts into just the situations that are faced by some of the situations that are presented in this book. Like there's one particular situation that brings to the forefront like the question of refugees and integration, and we get two opposing views on how like that can be handled, and they both work equally well. So there's always some. I found like this is only a second book I've read from her, but I found like she has a way of just incorporating these little things into the story that it makes it her own thing. It makes it different. It's not necessarily like the most fascinating or the most interesting take on it. It just makes it different enough that you enjoy it. You enjoy it for what it is. You enjoy the new dimension it brings to the story. Because these aren't the kind of things that you would read in a typical epic fantasy from this era when this book would have been written. But like I said, at the end of the day, the reason why all of this works really well is because Kristen Britton is very much a talented author. Like she's from that class of, like I talk about this all the time when I review like all the female written fantasy from the 90s. Like they were a class of authors operating around that time who were really good. They had to be. They just had to be 5 times as good to get half the recognition of their male peers, because that's just the bias in the industry at the time. And like it or not, we're seeing, like when you read these books for yourselves, you see the marked difference between what they produce compared to what the average male author produce. So like it just makes it that much more it just makes the argument that much more compelling to pick up one of their books and read it. And so far, I haven't really been disappointed by making that choice. So, a great character-driven story. I'm reading this book as part of a read-along on the Bookish Drums Discord, and I'm having a blast in it. Like I'm at this point, I'm in this series for the long haul, to the point where I'm trying to drag the books out so that I don't have to wait too long before I can start the next one. But at the same time, I'm so engaged that I really want to read these books as much and as fast as I can. So it's tough. It's tough. The struggles, first world problems over here, I tell you. But yeah, like I can easily, Right now, one of the projects I'm working on this channel is to come up with a list of my 100 favorite fantasy series, and unfortunately I made the cutoff point for that list anything I read up to the end of last year. Otherwise this series would have definitely been on this list by now. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about First Writer's Call by Kristen Britton. If you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.